You are 12 years old, the fire is still smoking, the adults are already moving, and a baby is crying against your chest. In the modern world, that image feels almost impossible. But in the deep past, were 12-year-olds really becoming parents? The surprising answer is that some probably did. But most ancient humans almost certainly did not begin having children at 12. The popular image confuses three different things: puberty, social adulthood, and the age of a first birth. Archaeology cannot give us a prehistoric birth certificate. A skeleton may reveal an approximate age at death, signs of growth, injury, diet, or disease. But it usually cannot tell us exactly when that person first became a parent. That means any claim about a universal age must be treated carefully. Ancient humans lived across different continents, climates, diets, and social systems for hundreds of thousands of years. There was never one prehistoric rule for when parenthood began. The first clue comes from puberty. Today, many girls experience their first menstrual period near age 12. It is easy to project that modern numbered backward and assume ancient girls became fertile at the same age. But puberty is sensitive to energy. A growing body needs enough food, stored fat, and physical security before it can invest in reproduction. Heavy workloads, frequent illness, seasonal hunger, and slow childhood growth can delay that process. Studies of recent hunter-gatherer and other small-scale societies suggest that menarche often occurred later than it does in wealthy modern populations. One widely cited estimate places the average near 16 rather than 12. The same research places the average first birth closer to 19 or 20. A study of baka foragers also reported first reproduction around 18 to 19. These groups are not living fossils, but they help reveal what human biology can look like without modern abundance. So imagine yourself at 12 again. You may already carry wood, gather plants, watch younger children, recognize animal tracks, and know which insects sting. You are useful, you have responsibilities. But usefulness is not the same as reproductive maturity. Humans have an unusually long juvenile period. Compared with other primates, we spend many extra years learning before reproducing. That delay looks costly, but it gives you time to master a world in which one mistake can mean hunger, injury, or death. Finding food is not a single skill. You must remember where roots grow after rain, how to open nuts when fruit ripens, which tracks are fresh, how wine changes a hunt, and how to return to camp before darkness. Researchers have argued that it can take well into adolescence to become fully competent at hunting and gathering. A 12-year-old may contribute real calories, but still depend on older people for difficult decisions, dangerous hunts, and knowledge built across decades. Upper Paleolithic burials also remind us that teenagers were a recognizable part of ancient communities. Researchers April Noel and Jennifer French argue that adolescence was a distinct stage of biological, social, and cognitive change, not a childhood that simply ended overnight. Teenagers may have traveled farther, experimented more, learned from peers, and helped spread new ideas. They were not merely small adults waiting to reproduce. They may have been among the most flexible and inventive members of the group. Why, then, do people imagine 12-year-old parents everywhere in prehistory? One reason is the old myth that ancient humans died at 35. If everyone supposedly died young, then reproduction seems as if it must have started almost immediately. The low life expectancy at birth was pulled down by high infant and childhood mortality. A person who survived the dangerous early years could live for decades. There was no biological requirement to become a parent at the first possible moment. A second source of confusion is social adulthood. In many societies, puberty can trigger new clothing, ceremonies, work, sleeping arrangements, courtship, or marriage negotiations. But a society recognizing adolescence does not prove that childbirth followed at 12. A third source is the historical record. Some later agricultural and state societies allowed very early marriage, especially when families used marriage to manage property, alliances, or status. Those customs are sometimes projected backward onto every hunter-gatherer who ever lived. Yet farming villages, medieval kingdoms, Ice Age camps, and mobile foraging bands were not the same. Population density, inheritance, labor demands, and political power changed the meaning of marriage and family formation. Could a 12-year-old become pregnant in the ancient world? Yes, Biology allows rare early cases, just as it does today. The possible does not mean typical, safe, or socially preferred. A very young mother would face serious danger. The adolescent pelvis is still developing, and modern medical evidence shows that teenage pregnancy carries higher risks for both mother and baby. Ancient birth offered no reliable access to emergency surgery, blood transfusions, or antibiotics. That does not mean every young mother died. Experienced relatives could assist, labor positions could change, and generations of practical knowledge mattered. When birth became obstructed or infection began, the options were painfully limited. Evolution does not reward the earliest possible birth. It rewards surviving children who later reproduce. A pregnancy that kills a young mother, leaves an infant without care, or weakens both of them can be a terrible reproductive strategy. Waiting can bring advantages. An older adolescent may have a more mature body, better food skills, stronger social ties, and more experience caring for infants. She may also be better able to choose a partner or rely on relatives during pregnancy and nursing. In many foraging societies, children are raised by more than two parents. Grandmothers, siblings, aunts, uncles, and campmates may carry, feed, protect, or teach them. That cooperative network makes human childhood possible, but it still depends on healthy and capable caregivers. Now picture an ancient 12-year-old through a different lens. She is carrying a baby, but it may be her brother, sister, cousin, or another camp child. From a distance, we might mistake childcare for motherhood. She knows how to con the infant because she has practiced for years. She watches feeding, birth recovery, and the constant work of keeping small children alive. This is preparation for adulthood, not proof that adulthood has already arrived. By the later teenage years, the picture changes. Puberty is more likely to be complete. The pelvis has developed further, skills are deeper. Social relationships are clearer. First parenthood becomes more biologically and practically plausible. Even then, there was enormous variation. A well-fed person in a stable environment might mature earlier. Someone facing famine, disease, or exhausting travel might mature later. Culture could encourage early unions, delay them, or leave more choice to individuals. Neanderthals may also have grown somewhat differently from recent humans, and earlier members of the genus Homo differed again. The phrase ancient humans hides many species and many ways of life. One age can never describe all of them. The real counterintuitive lesson is that a harsh world did not necessarily erase childhood. Human evolution appears to have expanded it. Our ancestors survived partly because young people had time to learn, practice, play, observe, fail, and try again. At 12, you might already work harder than many modern adults expect of a child. You might carry sharp tools, walk long distances, tend fire, process food, and protect younger children. But responsibility did not automatically make you a parent. Modern life creates an unusual mirror image. Better nutrition can bring puberty earlier, while education and economic demands push parenthood much later. In many ancient settings, responsibilities came earlier, but biological maturity may have arrived later. So, why did ancient humans have kids at 12? Usually, they did not. Some likely became parents very young, but the best comparative evidence points toward first births in the later teenage years, not at the beginning of adolescence. The better question is why we imagine ancient childhood as so short. We confused a dangerous world with a rushed life. But human childhood was never wasted time. It was where survival knowledge, relationships, and culture were built. The 12-year-old beside the fire is not simply an unfinished adult. She is learning the landscape, testing her courage, helping her family, and preparing for a future that may still be years away. If you enjoyed this journey into the distant past, subscribe for more stories about ancient humans and human evolution.